Welcome to our kitchen. Today we prepare an ancient Roman frittata with herbs and spices from the Reco Quinaria, the cookbook conventionally attributed to Apicius. We start with ingredients. We need black mustard greens, eggs, 1 onion, olive oil, white wine, garum, and the spices and fresh herbs, black pepper, lovage, coriander seeds, and savory. If you don't have a savory, you can substitute it with another similar herb, such as thyme, without a substantial change in the outcome of the recipe. The original recipe calls for fresh cilantro. We used coriander seeds instead of the fresh herb, because in this season it doesn't grow here. But you may use another aromatic herb, such as parsley or celery tops. First, we pound the spices. Pepper, lovage, and coriander are among the most common spices in this cookbook. Pay attention not to use too much lovage, because paired with pepper it turns out very spicy. Not to consider that we will add more pepper on the frittata before serving it. Lovage is a Mediterranean spice, almost forgotten in Italian cuisine, but widely used by Romans. Pliny writes that it was substituted with anise seeds. The flavor is different, but it may be a good substitute, as well as cumin or caraway if you don't have it. Then we mince about a quarter of an onion and add it in the mortar with the savory. If you want to know more about lovage and the other Mediterranean spices in ancient Roman cooking, check out our Patreon page, in which you find further articles and translations of historical sources, and buy our new book, Ancient Roman Cooking, available in English and Italian on Amazon, in both ebook and printed edition. In this way, you will help us to make new videos. In the description below, you find the links to Patreon and Amazon, as well as the shop with our merchandise. There are several varieties for these recipes in the Reco Quinaria, called patina. Patina is not equivalent to frittata. It's a term with a wider meaning, which includes several preparations all characterized by the use of a specific kind of pan, called patina. We made in the past a patina with peaches, completely different from this one. You find the link to the video in the description below. There are many patine with eggs, and this is one of them. The author of the Reco Quinaria suggests it for mustard greens, cucumber, and other kinds of vegetables, wild and cultivated, as well as for asparagus. In the asparagus recipe, he adds to the ingredients asparagus juice, obtained by pounding the scraps in the mortar and sifting them with the addition of a bit of wine. We add garum, wine, and oil and mix. To know more about garum, check out our videos about the ancient Roman fish sauces, in which we showed how to prepare both garum and muria, the ancient equivalent of colatura di alici. If you prefer, remember that you may always substitute garum with a pinch of salt. You will obtain a less sapid dish, but good anyway. Then we chop the black mustard greens. We use this kind of mustard because we have plenty of it at disposal in the fields around home, but you can use other kinds of herbs. among which the kinds you want of cabbages and greens belonging to the cabbage family, very common in ancient Rome. Other options are the wild herbs available in the Old World, such as nettles, mallow, or poppy leaves. Clearly, if you want, use asparagus. Remove the hard part and use it to make the juice. Then arrange them on the bottom of the pan, greased well with olive oil, before adding the other ingredients, in the same way as we are doing today. Now we cook the patina on charcoal. We pour the olive oil in the pan, add the mustard greens and let them wilt. Then we add the sauce. Another variant for this recipe includes a fish or chicken meat placed below the egg mixture before cooking it. In this case, we suggest pre-cooking the meat or fish, simmering it in water for a short time, and cutting it finely. Because the cooking time will be quite short, remember to grease the pan before arranging the meat or fish. Meanwhile, we beat 5 eggs. The author doesn't specify how many eggs to use for this recipe, but in other recipes for patine, we usually find 6 or 8 eggs. Adjust the quantity to the size of your pan. After 1 or 2 minutes, depending on how your mustard greens are tender, we add the eggs. We cover with a lid and cook the patina with charcoal below and on top. This is a technique we find frequently among the recipes for patine, in which the author writes to cook them in hot ash, sometimes covering the pan with them. But using the charcoal in this way is very common in ancient cooking, in particular to bake bread and pies, to cook the foods evenly and at low heat. Meanwhile, we pound a bit of black pepper. Many recipes in the Re Cucinaria end with the addition of pepper on top. If you want to obtain a more complex flavor, you may use a different kind of pepper, for example long pepper, more expensive but very aromatic and intense. We serve the patina hot, sprinkled with black pepper. This ancient frittata is amazing, delicious and full of flavor. Despite the simplicity of the main ingredients, it's fragrant and spicy, perfect as an appetizer or even a main dish, in particular if prepared with the addition of meat or fish, as we described before. A dish very easy to prepare, that however uses all the refined culinary skills that characterize ancient Roman recipes. If you're interested in ancient foods and flavors, subscribe our channel and consider supporting us on Patreon.